Welcome. Today we're going to talk about grief and Father's Day. This coming Sunday is Father's Day, and it will bring up a lot of emotions, especially if you've lost your father. But it also pertains to if you have distance with your father. So please just think about it that maybe this doesn't apply to you, but maybe sometimes the things that come up will apply to you. So I want to address both. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here. I have a slideshow for you. Now, facing Father's Day when your father has passed can be such a hard thing to do. Father's Day can intensify feelings of loss and longing for those who have experienced the death of their father as the third Sunday of June that approaches in the United States. And many will find themselves navigating complex emotions rather than celebrating. And the statistics are sobering. Over 3 million US children have experienced a parent's death. Behind each number is a person facing holidays and celebrations with profound absence, especially on days specifically designed to honor our fathers. Now, this presentation explores the emotional landscape of Father's Day after loss, offering perspectives on processing grief, honoring memories, and finding your own path forward through the challenging times. Need to put this in here. There we go. There are waves of emotions that we go through when we have gone through grief and we have lost someone very special to us. I want to help you understand these emotions. The first one that comes up is sadness. These are deep feelings of loss and longing for your father's presence. This is if he has passed, but it could also apply if your father left when you were young. Maybe your parents divorced. Maybe they never married. Maybe you never knew him. There's still a grief because you have lost a relationship possibility, and you do grieve for it. And there's anger, especially if there's an abandonment issue. Your parents divorced when you were young and your father left and you never heard any more from him. It's possible that your father was taken by an accident, and through someone's neglect, that accident happened. I could see anger there. It's how you deal with it, though. It's the unfairness of your loss, especially during celebrations. It just accents it more. It just brings it out. It's like it's louder for you that they're not there. And then there's relief. Possibly your father was sick for a long time. Mine was quite some time. He was diabetic. He was on dialysis. He lost both of his legs. I know when he died, I told my mother, please don't feel guilty for if you feel relief, because as a caretaker, she had gone through a lot. Not just losing her husband, but she was under tremendous stress for so long. If you were absent and detached from your father and you heard that he died, it might be relief that he was gone, especially if there's anger. These are complex feelings, especially after difficult relationships or prolonged illnesses. There is a sense of relief, and it's part of grief. It's nothing to feel bad about. It's part of grief. You've lost someone you love, or maybe didn't love. And then there's emptiness. Think of that hollow feeling where traditions and connections once existed. You celebrated Father's Day. Maybe you had a special celebration and everyone came home for it. That was really nice. And you can't do that anymore. Grief doesn't follow a predictable timeline. It comes in waves, often surging during significant dates like Father's Day or their birthday or Christmas, special days that you know are going to be significantly acknowledging your father and that he's gone. What might be a normal Sunday in April could become an emotional tsunami in June when the world seems filled with father's child celebrations and you don't have that father, whether he's there and is no longer there or whether he was never there for you. Triggers are everywhere. These are things that automatically trigger our feelings and that brings that grief full force at us, and we can't ignore it. The triggers are everywhere during this season. Go through the Walmart even. The greeting cards. There's this huge section just on Father's Day. Yeah. And often, restaurants advertise special meals for Father's Day, just like Mother's Day, or special brunches, or special prices, or social media. Facebook. There's so many things out there about Father's Day. I'm so grateful for my father. I miss my father. There's such a variety. But if it's going to be an emotional trigger for you, try to avoid it. You know it's going to upset you. You know it's going to hurt. Okay? Each reminder can reawaken grief. Might have been a few years back that you lost your dad, but this just kind of pops it right out there again. Making emotions feel as raw as they were immediately after your loss. It's like all of a sudden you're thrown back in time. And it's like losing them all over again. And it hurts. It hurts your heart. There's a shadow of remorse. Some people call it guilt. Guilt means you intended harm for that person. And I don't believe that we intended harm for our fathers that we loved and lost. So I tell people, take the word guilt and put it back in the dictionary. I like the word remorse. We feel sad. Remorse over conversations that, things that were left unsaid that you didn't get to tell them before they passed away, or you didn't get to resolve an argument, especially if you're estranged from your father. You had a big argument, you left home. You never had that chance to bring that to terms and build that relationship back up again. There are times that is for the best for your own health, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but so many times it's just leaves a void there that you're never going to get to resolve that. There are ways that I believe we can go to that graveyard. And I realize it's just the body that they used while they were here on earth. But I have gone to that grave before, not my father's grave, but someone else's grave. And I stood there and I yelled and I cried. I was so angry. And I let that anger out because I'd not had that chance to tell that person how much they hurt me. Sometimes just getting it out, but knowing that that body is there, it kind of connected me. And I felt relieved afterwards. I didn't carry that burden on my shoulder anymore. Sometimes when we have the things like that, it's like we have a backpack on. Every time we hold that anger, it's like we throw another rock in our backpack. Here comes another one. We throw another rock in our backpack. Pretty soon, that bag gets pretty full. It gets pretty heavy. And if we're not careful, it can pull us backwards. We don't want that. We want to get rid of those rocks. And the second thing is moving forward. Feeling remorse about not grieving enough or continuing with life. There will be people in your life that think you should mourn for years. You haven't spent long enough grieving for your father. Don't let anyone judge you, criticize you, or tell you you should be over it. Everyone is unique. Every death is unique. Every situation is unique. Don't let that get to you. Don't let them do that. We'll talk about boundaries in a little bit too. You have to set boundaries that you're not going to listen to that, whether it's getting away from them or dropping them as a friend. Harder to do when it's a relative, but with boundaries, you can do it. I've done it. And then there's finding joy. We are going to go on. We are going to live on. And we are going to find joy again. Some people will have remorse for experiencing happiness or celebrating despite the loss. I remember when my son died, and the first time I heard myself laugh out loud, it shocked me. I thought, how can I laugh out loud? I've just buried my son. But it's part of life and it's part of moving forward and finding joy. And if the shoe was on the other foot, we would want them to find joy. We would want them to go on with life, and they want us to. It's part of life. It's part of the grieving process. So the shadow of remorse is perhaps the most complicated emotion that accompanies grief. You might find yourself replaying final conversations, wishing that you had said more or maybe less or said something entirely different. We can't go back and do that over again. And thinking about it only makes you feel worse. The if onlys, if only had said more, if only had said less, if only we had come to terms, that can be overwhelming, especially on a day meaning to honor fathers. Controversially, you might feel remorse for not feeling sad enough or finding ways to celebrate your Father's Day despite your loss. You might still be a father and have children that want to celebrate Father's Day with you. If we can dwell on that joy and put aside our sadness of our loss of our father, acknowledge it, but put it aside and concentrate with our own children, you can do it with joy. Remember that healing isn't measured by the intensity of your grief, and finding moments of joy doesn't diminish your love for your father. Enjoying spending time with your children, going to a special outing, boating, or something that has totally separate from the love that you have for your father. Don't beat up on yourself. Okay? There's memories and holding on and letting go. Some things you want to hold on to, some things you want to let go. Okay? There's like photos and letters, and memories can preserve precious moments and to your father, creating links that that share your past. I know when my mom died, my mom's name was Laverne, and I made a private Facebook page of Loving Laverne. My sister was Sharon, and it was sharing. You can have a private one like that, and then all your family can bring up pictures or some things they want to say about that person. And the same thing with my husband, my brother. You could do that for anyone. You get to decide who comes into that. But it's a celebration. It's not just a loss. It's a celebration of that person's life, things that were special, positive things. And you can go back and you can look at that even years later. It's a really nice thing to do. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we just did that. not wanting to go forward here. It's kind of stuck. It's not wanting to go forward. Right? Is that this? We go. Okay. Writing letters. Have you ever thought about writing a letter to your loved one that's passed? Take it to the graveyard, stick it right up by the headstone. Chances are the wind may blow it away, but it's one way of getting your emotions out of your body. And there's something about writing that it works on both sides of your mind. If you write it down, a blank piece of paper and use blue ink, they say, but getting it out, writing it, make a journal, write your feelings in the journal. The main thing is that you're getting them out of your body, out of your head, so you can deal with it and you can move forward and you're still continuing to live. I know when my son died, I told his wife, he died. You didn't. You are still young. You still have a life to live. And I meant that so much for her. You could create art, uh, make memory books, or that can help process complex emotions while honoring your father's impact on your life. One of the ways that I really like is to make a vision board. Just get a big poster board and you put different things on there. Maybe it's a fishing boat if he liked to go fishing, or pictures of him, maybe something that he had said, anything that would conjure up memories of him, good memories. Makes your day better too. And storytelling. This can be magical. Tell stories about your father keeps his memory alive, both for yourself and for others who may not have known him well. Now, some people, especially at first, they don't want to say their name. Number one, because they're afraid it will upset you and they don't want to upset you. When my husband died, and I went around his family and no one spoke his name. And I thought that was kind of strange. Now I understand they weren't wanting to upset me. But I wanted his memory to keep alive. I purposely brought up his name. It's like I gave them permission to talk about him, that I was okay with it. And now his name comes up often. But I set that up, that it was okay. They're grieving his loss too, just like I was. And I appreciate that they didn't want to hurt my feelings. But I don't want him to be forgotten. I don't want my father to be forgotten. And maybe there's people that didn't know your father that well, that you can tell stories about different things. I know my cousins have done that. I'd never heard those stories before, and it was really neat to hear them. Okay. And then coping with public celebrations. We have to set our boundaries. When I gave permission for my husband's family to talk about him, I was setting a boundary. I was releasing a boundary that it was okay to talk about him. If it was something that would have really upset me, then I would have had to set a boundary that I wasn't ready for it yet. You will know. So give yourself permission to limit exposure to Father's Day marketing. Social media, all over Facebook, you're going to find all kinds of dedications to your fathers. Maybe you didn't like your father. Maybe he abandoned you when you were younger. That just reminds you that one more time you reached out for him and he wasn't there, and he never was. It's also a time when you might reach out and he was there for you and in your face so much that he's not there now. It might be events that trigger difficult emotions that you just can't hold the tears back, and you've done so good for so long, and then all of a sudden it just comes rushing back. Your mental well-being matters. It's very, very important. Find community. Connect with others who understand grief, whether it's through formal support groups or friends who have experienced similar losses. Now, keep in mind, you might have a friend that's also lost their father. Their relationship is not the same as your relationship. You share the common thing that you have lost your fathers, but your grief is going to be different because the relationship is different. But it's still a comfort being around other people that have had that loss. I know we have here a support group. It's called Grief Share. It's a Christian based, and everyone that comes to those meetings has lost someone, not just their father. It might be their spouse, might be a child, a dear friend. It's a loss. They're grieving. And as we talk and we discuss and we work through it, we have a camaraderie with those people and we grow through it. And we have had tears. We've also had laughter and sharing. And you get very close to those people because sometimes you can tell them things that you couldn't tell a friend or family members. And it can be a very private, confidential group. So don't be afraid to reach out for those because they are there for you. And I really stress Grief Share. It's free, it's Christian based, so it's up to you. And find the community like Grief Share. Connect with others who understand grief, whether it's through formal support groups or friends who have experienced similar losses. Oh, I'm sorry. I did that one. I'm sorry. Plan ahead. Rather than letting the day ambush you, create your own plan for Father's Day that acknowledges your loss while providing comfort and support. And just remember, part of grief is that it's not just that people are supporting you. That's the receiving part. We also have to have giving part in our heart. That when we are sharing with other people, we let them talk about their loss. Let them express their pain and be there for them. That's why in my grief group, whoops, it's there, my heart. It's a heart with ears. Because as a grief recovery specialist, that's what we do. We hear, we don't judge, we don't criticize, we listen with our hearts to receive, but also return to other people who have also lost. Okay. And practice self-compassion. Recognize that feeling isolated or envious of intact father-child relationships is normal, and it doesn't affect poorly on you. It's only human nature that you see someone else that has their father with them, and you feel that little twinge of envy, thinking, why couldn't my dad be here? Especially if he was really a good father role. And take care of yourself. If you didn't have that kind of relationship with your father, so be it. But still take care of yourself. What gives you peace? What makes you resilient to bounce back? Father's Day celebrations can feel particularly isolating when you're grieving. Sometimes if it's fresh, especially, you might not feel like celebrating. It's still too soon. It's still too emotional. It's still too raw. Seeing friends post tributes to living fathers or families, gathering at restaurants, that can be highlighting your loss. And sometimes it can make you feel very, very deeply unfair. Why do they have their fathers and I don't? It's a true emotion. Don't ever be ashamed of it. It's true. Remembering that stepping back from public celebrations is not selfish. It's self-care. Take care of you. Consider taking a social media break. Get off of Facebook. Don't watch movies that talk about Father's Day or anything. Know ahead of time. Plan ahead of time. An alternative activity that's going to bring you meaningful times rather than forcing yourself to participate in traditional celebrations that are going to bring you down. and you can honor through memorials and rituals. Now, if you had a bad relationship with your dad, you might want to put his picture up there, use it for target practice. But I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. I don't think that's very therapeutic in your health. But for someone that has lost their father and really had a good relationship with them, there's ways to honor them through memorials and rituals. Many people set up memorials. A friend of mine has put a tree in the park in honor of her husband. That keeps it keeps their life still vivid, that they were there, that they lived, and that they were loved. And you can go visit that tree or wherever your memorial is. Another set of parents planted a tree in their yard. There's many little things that you could do, but think of what makes you feel good and that you can connect with them, whether it's your father or mother or whoever it is you've lost. And then there's rituals. You can light a candle. At Christmas time, I light a candle for my husband. It burns all day Christmas Day, and on the lid, I write the year that I burned it. At the end of that day, it goes back in the closet until the next year. But that's Christmas with him. It's just a small symbol that he's in my heart that day, and I wish he was there. Visit meaningful places. Maybe it's a place that you've gone before and you had such a good time, and look at it for the good. There's a seed of goodness in every situation. And even though your heart may be breaking, there's got to have been something good that come from it. Is it a special occasion? Did you share something really great that you'll never forget? Hold that in your heart, or create small personal ceremonies. You don't have to involve anyone else. As long as it means something to you. That's the key. And food memories. Oh my goodness. Is there a special meal that your dad liked? Maybe he liked a good steak and you decide you're going to get the family together and you're going to grill steaks in honor of dad. I know my mother loved 3-bean salad. Whenever we had to get together, I said, Mom, what do you want me to make? She'd say, 3-bean salad. I never make it without thinking of her. It's the same way with your dad. Is there something special he liked? My dad loved pickled herring. I went to a gathering of Grief Share the other night. And when I walked in and I saw the food, we all pitched in, and I saw pickled herring. I love pickled herring. And instantly I flashed back to my dad coming to my house. And we would fight over the pickled herring. So now whenever I eat pickled herring, I think about him and the times that we laughed and fought over that pickled herring. So simple little things like that is something they loved. It's just a good memory of them, and it brings them back into our lives. Create tributes, making art, writing poems, or creating memorable projects. I love a vision board. You could put all kinds of things on that vision board. If you liked fish, put a fish up there, or a boat, or a certain lake, certain friends he liked to go fishing with, certain locations, foods that he liked. There's a certain hat that he liked to wear, pictures of them. It's a simple thing, but it can be so great and rewarding because every time you look at that, it's like a little bit of him is there with you. I know it makes me feel good. And shared stories. Whenever our family would get together, somehow Dad's name would always come up, and something that he had done, something he had pulled on someone, pulled a prank, and we would laugh. We would laugh at the same things over and over again, but it was good memories for us. And it's some good memories are meant to be cherished and to be brought back up and remembered. And it brings joy into your heart because you're moving on, and it's a ritual. and reaching out, supporting yourself and others. Remember what I said? Part of it is receiving the help, but a big part of it is also giving it to others. We need to be a gracious receiver, but we also need to be a gracious giver. There's other people that are there hurting. When I hear someone had lost their child, I had to go because I knew that pain. I had lost my child. I had lost 2 children. I understood that pain. And it wasn't the same situation, but there's something about a mother's pain when they lose a child that goes so deep. And I don't know which is harder. Some people will debate whether it's to lose a spouse or whether it's to lose a child, which is the worst. I think they each have their own pain. One was sudden and one was sick for a while. It's a different kind of grief. It's a different kind of pain. But be there for yourself, but be there for others too. Share with those that knew him. Like I said, with family, connect with family members or friends because they miss him too. It's not just us, your siblings, his friends. And sharing memories can be mutual healing and creating moments of unexpected joy amid grief. We're not meant to be sad all of our life. Exchange favorite stories about your father and look through photographs together. I think that is so fun because you automatically go back to that place in time and you knew who was there, you knew what was being said, you knew the excitement of the moment. Photographs can just say so much. And whenever you take a picture, that will never happen again. That moment in time will never happen again. But if you've got a picture of it, then you can go back and you can look at it and you can remember it, you can relive it, especially if it's your dad. And simply say his name aloud in conversation, like I said with my husband. Don't be afraid of saying it. They deserve to be remembered. And formal support systems. Consider professional resources. I'm a grief recovery specialist, advanced and licensed. You can find someone like that. I can help you. Or especially on Father's Day, when the triggers of grief reactions, or if you're struggling to function in daily life. When you're struggling in daily life and you feel that you can't go forward and you start isolating yourself, that is not healthy. Know when it's time to reach out for help. And some people don't need it. That's okay. But there are people that do need it. Sometimes it's just a friend to talk to, an ear to listen. Individual therapy with grief specialist. I do individual one-on-one. Very seldom do I have one in person. Most of the time I do them all over Zoom. But it could be one-on-one or it could be a group, depending upon what the subject is. And faith-based counseling, if it's spirituality, is important to you. To me, it is. That's one of the reasons I like Grief Share, is because it's Christian-based. It's up to you, whatever feels good to you. And there again, supporting others. If you know someone facing Father's Day after loss, just simply acknowledgments can mean everything to them. Somebody's listening, somebody cares. Send a thoughtful text or a card, just, offering to spend the day, time with them. A little card that says, I'm thinking of you. I'm with you. I mention their father by name. That lets them know that it's okay to talk about them. I know when I had lost my sister, the year after my husband, and my brother-in-law and I had some good conversations because we knew each other's spouse and we could freely talk about them. Never be shy about mentioning their name or something that happened during their lifetime. When you've had a good relationship with someone that shares that love for that person, that means a lot, and you could talk about it. So, but isolation, that can intensify grief and make it so much more worse. Your mind will do crazy things, and it might guide you in the wrong direction. Connection often eases that. I know one person that after losing the mate, they isolated and kept going downhill. And I was really, really worried. And then there came a time that things turned around and there was the joy again. But sometimes when people don't come out of that isolation, they die of a broken heart. They give up on living. And that's not good. And it breaks your heart to see someone going through that. You want them to be able to bounce back and live life again. They're still living. You know, when we go to the grave, we are honoring that physical part of them. Spiritually, they go be with God, but emotionally, they're with us in our hearts forever. They never leave us. So give, receive, and offer support. That can transform how you experience Father's Day after loss. Sometimes the people who knew your father can share perspectives or stories that you've never heard, adding a new dimension to your memories. Even brief connections matter. A text message saying, "I'm thinking of you today," or "I remember how your dad used to," can be deeply meaningful. Acknowledging that your father's absence is noticed and his life is remembered and he's not forgotten to you or to other people. When we come to the distant and conflict with the living father, if your father hasn't passed away yet, maybe he and your mother divorced, he abandoned you when you were younger. Maybe you never knew him. When my son died, he had a 3-year-old child. He was so young, he didn't remember his father. And I can remember telling him, "Oh, you have a beautiful voice. Your dad would be so proud of you." And he said, "Well, then he should have stuck around and watched." I could see the anger there. And he had a right to be angry. He felt abandoned by someone who said they loved him. And I know he did love him. But when you're the child, sometimes it's really hard to see that. You know, we never know when that sand's going to run out for us. If we haven't had a good relationship with our father, are we going to try to amend things before they or us pass? Sometimes that can't be done. But we can acknowledge the complex emotions of the distance and recognize that relationships with fathers can be complicated, involving both love and hurt. Even if someone had their father and lost them as a child, they might be angry. Why did God take my dad? Didn't take their dad. Yeah. Kids have very strong feelings, and we need to honor them. We need to establish healthy boundaries. We could define what contact feels safe and constructive for your well-being. But define it. When someone is not for your better interest, you need to set a boundary there, and you can. Walk away. Don't be around them. If you know that they're going to pull you down, distance yourself. That's not going to help you. It's going to make you feel worse. You don't need that. You're wanting to feel better, not worse. And consider limited connection. Explore whether some form of connection or contact might be possible, even if it's limited. If you've got a father that you are distant from, you may never want to have that relationship with him if there's a lot of resentment and hurt there. It depends upon the situation, depends upon the people involved. Some can be salvaged, but they will never be the same as what you would like for it to be. And maybe that person you reach out for them one more time and they're not going to be there, like they've never been there for you. Our expectations in a situation like that can make or break us. If we have our heart set on having a great relationship and everything, and then it doesn't happen that way, we've done grieved them not being in our life, but we're grieving that they're not there now. It's like a double whammy, and it hurts. Excuse me. Prioritize self-care. Focus on your own healing, regardless of the relationship status. You have got to do what makes you feel good in the time that you have left. Nothing. You. What makes you feel peaceful? You have to set those boundaries. For some, Father's Day highlights the emotional or the physical distance from a living father. Estranged, unresolved conflicts, or geographical separation can create a unique form of grief. Say your parents divorced and your father moved to the other side of the states. You don't have that same relationship. Mourning a relationship that exists, but isn't what you hoped for or what you needed. But you see other kids having good relationships with their dad and you don't have it. And that really cuts deep. It hurts. You think, what's wrong with me that I can't have that? Kids tend to dump on themselves, thinking they're to blame. And kids grieve just like we do. And we need to ease their pain. Another tip, too, though, is that if a child sees you crying, not overboard, but they see you crying, that's a human feeling, emotion. It gives them permission to cry, too. Used to be, they say, oh, come on, big boys don't cry. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I'm so glad the world has changed about that it's okay for guys to have feelings and be able to express them. I think that's wonderful. You might fight conflict about whether to reach out, maintain a distance, or attempt reconciliation. There's no universal right answer, only what feels authentic and healthy for your specific situation. You know, you got to do what makes you feel best and be respectful. If you can't respect him, distance yourself from him. It's just as emotional as any of the other emotions that we feel in life. And it's okay. We're going to move forward and resilience and growth. Resilience is our ability to bounce back when something has happened in our life. And losing our father is definitely one of them, whether it's distancing from them or that's through death. Allow all feelings. Give yourself permission to experience a full spectrum of your emotions. Don't ignore any of them. Acknowledge them, look at them realistically, and address them. I'll create new traditions. Develop meaningful activities that honor both loss and continuing life. And again, if you're a father, you've got children, let those children honor you as Father's Day. You're still acknowledging that your father has gone, but you're also letting them honor you. That's a good receiver. They'll remember that. Embrace nonlinear healing. Recognize that grief ebbs and flows rather than following a straight path. It's like a rip of the ocean. You know, you got high tide and you got low tide, and it goes back and forth. And life is that way. It's never always a straight line, whether it's happiness or grief or anything that's going on in your life. It's always going to be an ebb and a flow. And we have to roll with it. It can be hard to do. So moving forward, It doesn't mean leaving your father or your grief behind. It means finding ways to carry both with you as you continue living. You continue living. This might involve creating new Father's Day traditions that feel meaningful, volunteering for causes that your father cared about, spending time in nature, maybe taking a walk. I know volunteering for the causes. My husband was a great lover of the Kiwanis Club. He was involved many years. One of the things they did was they would save the $1 bills that had the letter K on it. And Kiwanis does things for kids. And at their weekly meetings, they would put these $1 bills in this great big baby bottle. And I continued to collect those K dollars. And I send them in honor of him. It's just little things, but it makes you feel like you're doing something in honor of them because they were worth it. Okay. Spend time in nature. Maybe take a walk. Go fishing where you used to go fishing together, or gather with supportive friends. We are moving forward. We are living. They're not. Their hourglass has emptied, but ours hasn't. And we need to live those days. The ring theory of grief suggests that we don't move through grief in sequential stages, but rather cycle between different emotional states, sometimes experiencing profound sadness and genuine joy. And at the same day, this perspective offers permission to experience Father's Day in whatever way feels authentic without measuring your healing against arbitrary standards. Move at your own pace. Don't ever let anyone say, oh, you should be over it by now. No. Go at your own pace. Be kind to yourself. If you have to, back away for a bit. But then you need to keep moving forward. I want to thank you for joining me today. It has been a pleasure and an honor to have you with me. My wish for that Father's Day will be kind, comforting, and healing to you. If it's been negative in the past, look for the good it came to teach you. And my gift today is a free 1-hour conversation with me. We can talk about grief, life, or whatever is heavy on your heart. You'll want to go to www.patackleyroth.com/conversation, and that will take you to my calendar, and you can see what times are available. That'll work for you. Or you can reach me by phone at 956-586-0356. I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you. And if you know someone else that might need help on their grief journey, please pass my information on to them. Until we meet again, I wish you a safe and happy Father's Day. And I hope you have peace and find a way to celebrate your Father's Day, because I'm going to. Bye for now.